In a remote mountain region of southern China, scientists kept noticing something strange. The local population was living dramatically longer than the national average, with lower rates of heart disease, lower cancer rates, and a level of vitality in old age that researchers struggled to explain. They tested the water, they tested the air, they tested the diet, and eventually they found a common thread growing wild along nearly every fence, hillside, and forest edge in the region. A humble climbing vine that the locals had been drinking as tea for generations, almost as an afterthought. They called it xiankao, the immortality herb. Western science would later give it a different name, Jiaogulan. And what researchers found inside this unassuming vine would change how an entire field of medicine thinks about adaptation, stress, and longevity. Green tea has earned its reputation. It's rich in catechins, particularly E, G, CG, which provide genuine antioxidant support. For decades, it's been the gold standard of healthy beverage content on the internet. But here's what almost nobody is talking about. Green tea is primarily what's called an antioxidant. It helps neutralize damage that has already occurred. Jiaogulan operates on a completely different level. It belongs to a rare and small category of plants called adaptogens. Substances that don't just clean up damage, but actively help your body's stress response systems recalibrate and adapt to physical, mental, and environmental stress in real time. Where green tea plays defense, Jiaogulan plays defense and offense. It contains over 100 saponin compounds called gynostemmas, many of which are structurally similar to the active compounds found in actual ginseng. In fact, in several head-to-head laboratory comparisons, certain gynostemmas have shown effects that meet or exceed those of ginsenosides, the prized active compounds in Panax ginseng, one of the most expensive herbs on earth. Here's what made Jiaogulan such a fascinating case for researchers. Botanically, it has absolutely nothing to do with ginseng. Ginseng belongs to the Panax genus, a slow-growing root that can take 6 or more years to mature. Jiaogulan belongs to an entirely different family, Gynostemma Pentaphyllum, a fast-growing climbing vine in the cucumber and gourd family, completely unrelated at the genetic level. And yet, when chemists isolated and analyzed its active compounds, the gynostemmas, they found striking structural similarities to ginsenosides, the prized compounds in ginseng. This is botanically remarkable. It's an example of what scientists sometimes call convergent phytochemistry. Two completely unrelated plants independently evolving similar protective compounds, likely because both were adapting to similarly challenging mountain environments. This is part of why Jiaogulan earned the nickname Southern Ginseng, not because it's related to ginseng, but because it appears to have arrived at a similar biochemical solution through an entirely different evolutionary path. To understand why adaptogens are such a unique category, you have to understand what they actually do at a mechanistic level. A stimulant like caffeine forces your nervous system into heightened activity regardless of what your body actually needs in that moment, which is why it can leave you wired when you're already stressed, and why it eventually leads to a crash. A sedative does the opposite. It dampens your system regardless of context. An adaptogen is fundamentally different. It works primarily through the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, your body's central stress response system, helping to modulate cortisol output based on what your body actually needs in that moment. Understimulated and fatigued. Research suggests adaptogens like Jiaogulan can support increased alertness and energy. Overstressed and anxious? The same compound appears to support a calming, balancing effect. This bidirectional, intelligent regulation is what makes true adaptogens, a category that includes Jiaogulan, Ginseng, rhodiola, and ashwagandha, fundamentally different from anything else in the supplement aisle. Here is the discovery that genuinely excited the scientific community. Researchers found that gynostemmas from Jiaogulan activate an enzyme called AMPK, adenosine monophosphate activated protein kinase. If you're not familiar with AMPK, here's why this matters enormously. AMPK is often called the body's metabolic master switch. It is the same pathway activated by intense exercise, by caloric restriction and fasting, and, significantly, by metformin, one of the most extensively studied longevity and metabolic health compounds in modern pharmacology, currently being investigated in major clinical trials, specifically for its anti-aging potential. When AMPK is activated, a cascade of beneficial processes is triggered. Mitochondrial biogenesis, the creation of new, more efficient cellular power plants. Improved insulin sensitivity and glucose regulation, enhanced fat oxidation, and critically, the initiation of autophagy, your body's cellular self-cleaning process that clears out damaged proteins and dysfunctional cell components, a process intimately linked to longevity research across multiple species. A climbing vine from a mountain village appears to tap into one of the most important metabolic pathways currently being studied in longevity science. The research on Jiaogulan extends well beyond metabolism into 3 other critical systems for the cardiovascular system. Gynostemmas have been shown in multiple studies to support healthy blood vessel relaxation, a process called vasodilation, which is associated with improved blood flow and support for already healthy blood pressure levels. Some research also points to favorable effects on cholesterol balance, particularly LDL oxidation, a key driver of arterial plaque formation. For the brain, Jiaogulan has demonstrated neuroprotective properties in laboratory studies, including support for BDNF, the same brain-derived neurotrophic factor we've discussed in relation to exercise and morning routines. Some research suggests potential benefit for memory and cognitive resilience under stress, an area of growing scientific interest. And for the immune system, certain gynostemmas appear to modulate immune cell activity, including natural killer cells, a critical frontline defense against abnormal and infected cells, without overstimulating the immune system into autoimmune-like hyperactivity, which is one of the signature qualities of a well-balanced adaptogen. If Jiaogulan has this much research behind it, why isn't it already a household name like green tea or turmeric? The honest answer has more to do with economics than efficacy. Green tea is relatively easy to cultivate at massive industrial scale, has decades of established branding and supply chains, and fits neatly into existing beverage categories that consumers already understand. Jiaogulan grows best in specific mountainous humid environments, has historically been harvested in smaller regional quantities, and lacks the decades of marketing infrastructure that turned green tea into a global household staple. This is a pattern that repeats throughout the history of herbal medicine. Efficacy and market visibility are not the same thing, and they often have very little correlation. Turmeric spent thousands of years as a regional spice before Western wellness culture discovered it. Ashwagandha was a staple of Ayurvedic medicine for centuries before supplement shelves caught on. Jiaogulan appears to be at a similar inflection point right now. A herb with genuine, multi-decade research behind it in Asian scientific literature, only recently gaining attention in Western functional medicine and longevity circles. Here is how to actually incorporate Jiaogulan practically and safely. The most traditional and accessible form is dried Jiaogulan tea, steeped for 5 to 10 minutes, with a naturally sweet, slightly bitter taste reminiscent of mild green tea, sometimes called sweet tea vine, for this reason. A typical starting approach is 1 cup in the morning, working up to 2 to 3 cups daily as tolerated. For more standardized dosing, look for extracts specifying a gipnoside percentage, commonly available in capsule form, typically 80 to 450 milligrams of standardized extract daily, divided into 1 or 2 doses. As with most adaptogens, the research-supported approach is to start low and build gradually over 1 to 2 weeks, allowing your body to acclimate rather than beginning at a high dose immediately. Most users report noticing initial effects, subtle improvements in energy stability and stress resilience within the first 1 to 2 weeks, with more pronounced metabolic and cardiovascular benefits typically reported over 8 to 12 weeks of consistent use, consistent with how adaptogens generally work, through gradual recalibration rather than acute, immediate effect. In the interest of being genuinely responsible with this information, and not just chasing a viral hook, here is who should exercise caution with Jiaogulan and why. Because Jiaogulan may have mild blood-thinning properties similar to other adaptogenic herbs, individuals taking anticoagulant or antiplatelet medications should consult their physician before use, and most practitioners recommend discontinuing use at least 2 weeks before any scheduled surgery. Because it may modestly support healthy blood pressure, those already taking blood pressure medication should monitor for additive effects and consult their doctor, particularly when starting. Pregnant and breastfeeding individuals should avoid Jiaogulan, as robust safety research in these populations is currently limited. And as with any adaptogen affecting the HPA axis, those with autoimmune conditions should discuss use with a knowledgeable healthcare provider, since immune-modulating herbs can occasionally interact unpredictably with autoimmune medication protocols. None of this means Jiaogulan is dangerous for most healthy adults. The safety profile in available research is generally favorable. But genuine bioactivity always comes with genuine considerations, and any source telling you a powerful herb has 0 possible interactions or contraindications is not being fully honest with you. I want to end this differently than you might expect. This is not a video telling you to throw out your green tea. Green tea remains a genuinely well-researched, valuable addition to a healthy lifestyle, and nothing here changes that. This is a video about expanding your understanding of what's possible, about recognizing that the wellness mainstream often moves slower than the actual science, and that some of the most interesting compounds in the world are still sitting quietly in regional obscurity, waiting to be properly understood by a wider audience. Jiaogulan represents something increasingly rare in the supplement world, a substance with genuine multi-system research, metabolic, cardiovascular, neurological, and immune, wrapped in centuries of traditional use by a population with notably favorable longevity outcomes. Whether it becomes the next major mainstream herb the way turmeric and ashwagandha did remains to be seen. But the research case is already remarkably strong. If you're someone who takes their health seriously and enjoys exploring what's genuinely effective rather than just trendy, Jiaogulan deserves a place on your radar, and perhaps, eventually, a place in your cup right alongside your green tea, not instead of it. Share this with someone who's always looking for what's next in evidence-based wellness. And let me know in the comments. Have you tried Jiaogulan before? What was your experience?